the last couple of months, at least during the transfer portal, I only think that there's one way that I personally can start this show tonight at, 9:09 Central Standard Time on a Friday night on January the 23rd, the year 2026, the year of our Lord Jesus Christ. RELAX. Because if you've been here, a lot of you have been having some panic. Oh, we missed out. Who did you really miss out on? Because you really hadn't missed out on anybody. You got 3 of the top 5 portal players in the country. You got a laundry list of receivers that I think really can play. I think you got 2 really good interior offensive guards that can play. I'm not giving up on Weston Davis at right tackle. I think you hit a really good home run. I'm not going to say home run. I think you hit a double, at least right now, and Dylan Jones at running back. You bring back Harlan Berry. Can Caden Durham take a step under Kevin Smith? You got the number 1 tight end in the country. You brought in Zach Grace, who's an H-back, who brings a level of physicality to your offense that, quite frankly, you've been missing. You got one of the best sack producers in the SEC at edge. You got a plethora of defensive tackles, some that have already shown that they can play here and play in this league. You got former 5-stars and top 50 players on the other edge that can really get after the passer. You have arguably one of the best secondaries returning in the country. You got one of the best safeties, if not the best safety, in my humble opinion, in the transfer portal. Oh, and by the way, you got Lane Kiffin. I don't think anybody's going on a better 2.5-month run than LSU in college football. Doesn't exist. Well, Blake, Indiana won a national championship. Yeah, and still the buzz is about LSU. So LSU gets a commitment from Jordan Seaton. We will break that down here tonight. A couple of ways you can get involved in the show. Send in super chats and or you can become a member on the YouTube channel. Now that LSU has done everything that we have asked Lane Kiffin and LSU to do, along with Billy Glasscock, I should say, as well in there, are you starting to have some thoughts about who you are as a roster? Because I sure the hell am. I don't know about you, but on paper, I'm starting, and when I see this team on paper, I am starting to have thoughts in my mind about them going into 2026 that might be a little outlandish. Or maybe not. But on paper, we got to officially talk about what the LSU Tigers may be in 2026. Guys, hey, all right. Are there questions? Yeah, we'll get to them. There are questions that we got to get to. We'll get to them here tonight as well. And hashtag Ask Blake thoughts, questions, concerns. I see a lot of you are sending in super chats. You can send them in. We'll get into all of them here tonight. I have a pretty good idea that we're going to be fielding a lot of them because a lot of you are excited, as well you should be. My good buddy Tony with a $50 super chat says, Callie Bourne, Boot Rays, my good friend, with a $50 super chat. My guy. You know my man, pause, but you know my man is making that all money. He coming up in here spending some money up in here. Good to have you in here, Tony. He says, I told you back on September 12th, after watching him play, I wanted Seaton in BR. He did. And Lane Kiffin must have gotten our encrypted text messages, and he must have saw you say that, and then here it is. Here it is. So we'll get into that. Tony, humbled, my brother, thank you so much. You know I'm always glad that you're in here. All right, let's get to it here. Every Ruffino and Joe show is brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. Download the FD Sportsbook app today. Use your mobile device when you do so for any bets on the NFL playoffs this weekend. You can place those bets with our good friends over at FanDuel when you do it. College basketball, men's and women's, with our good partners and friends over at FanDuel. We are glad and humbled to announce that FanDuel is going to be a partner with us for the rest of the 2026 calendar year. They've been very gracious to me. They've been humbling in a lot of ways, and they've been with us on this rise from, just this past year in the middle of the summer when, guys, I got to be honest with you, didn't know where AYS was going, and our good friends and partners over at FanDuel said, we are ready for the ride, man. Let's go. and they've been there with us, and we're proud to be partnered with our good friends over at FanDuel. Download the app today. Use the mobile device. Guys, set your preferences. Set them. Don't spend more than you can. Let's go have some fun. You got playoffs this weekend. It's going to be an electric weekend. And, well, Lane Kiffin, if there's going to be odds out there early, I might text our good friends over at FanDuel and see what the early odds on getting to the college football playoffs is going to be next season. I did hear from a little birdie over at FanDuel, though, when the Seaton news went down. I do think they'll have top 8 odds to get into the college football playoff. Just saying it. Just going to go ahead and tell you, top 8 odds to get in the playoff is coming. So I'm glad to be partnered with our good friends over at FanDuel. All right, let's get into it. I see a lot of you in here. Do us a favor, if you haven't done so already, hit the like and share to all those groups if you're on Facebook and to all of those social media pages as well. Last day, by the way, to vote for our good friends over at Red Stick. A lot of you mentioned about the merch. I appreciate it. That will be probably coming to you next week. So let's get into it here. We got no time to waste. LSU gets a commitment from the number 1 offensive lineman in the transfer portal and a left tackle at that in Jordan Seaton. The number 1, not only player in the portal along the offensive line, you could make the argument the number 1 player in the portal, period, because of how valuable he is, the skills and athleticism that he has at left tackle, quite frankly, in all of college football at that position might be unmatched. 6'6", 335 pounds, and can really run. I know our good friend Carter Bryant over the Power Hour showed some of his film. You've seen it by now. This guy's really good in pass pro. He is really good in the run game. And Colorado, for what it's worth, did some very unique things with him, letting him pull, letting him do some specific things. He was very physical and at the point of attack has went after some top guys in the Big 12 like David Bailey, who will be a top 10 pick. He went up against John Henry Daly as well in the Big 10. Multiple guys that when their name is ultimately called, it's going to be in the first round of the NFL draft, and had a lot of really, really good games against them in a passing offense that, quite frankly, is going to even take up a step up for a guy like Jordan Seaton. Guys, this is the pinnacle. You went out and you got the number 1 quarterback in Sam Leavitt, and you needed to find a way to protect him. And you went out and you didn't take no for an answer. I want to start it off here. Guys, the overall vibe around LSU right now, coming from the Brian Kelly era right now to the Lane Kiffin era, when LSU would get in these public, very public recruitments, you remember them under the Brian Kelly era. LSU would be there at the doorstep. They would even sometimes get a commitment. And then somewhere down the line, those things would fall, whether it's in the portal or whether it's through high school recruiting. You remember it. Through the Brian Kelly era, LSU would get there and could not finish, never could finish when it mattered most. You turn into the 3 months, 2.5 months that Lane Kiffin has been there. You ultimately land on Sam Leavitt. You ultimately land on Jordan Seaton. You ultimately land on Princewill Yellen. 3 of the top 5 players in the transfer portal. The other 2 that didn't come here, well, they're quarterbacks that went somewhere else. So really, you just dominated the top 5 of the portal. So when I look at this and I look at the addition of Jordan Seaton, guys, Sam Leavitt, you got to keep him upright. You got to be able to run the football in this league. The last 2 years, you quite simply have not been able to run the football. I think when you look at this offensive line and add Jordan Seaton, the blind side to whether it's going to be Leavitt, Longstreet, whoever it is, that man is a beast. What I love when I watch Jordan Seaton is his footwork, his physicality, and the overall athleticism. I think with a little bit more of development, he's going to find himself and his name being heard in the top 10 of next year's class. He is that good. He is that talented. There is a reason. He's the number 3 player in the transfer portal. He is that good. He is that skilled. He is that dynamic as a left tackle. You're getting in a situation where when Lane got here, you had Cohen Eccles leave. You had Carius Kern leave. You had Tyree Adams leave. You had Paul Mabenga leave. And everybody was concerned about what was going to happen along the offensive line. And the conversations that you and I had were very simple. RELAX. because LSU is not done along the offensive line, and they know the need that they got there. Well, the number one offensive lineman went into the portal, and you got him. So now you're coming and you're shifting gears from when in the Brian Kelly era, quite honestly, you got your shit pushed in. Just going to call it like I see it. Whether it was Scott not giving Brian Kelly money, Brian Kelly not really getting him to work. You got Lane Kiffin in here for 2.5 months, and you're going up against Oregon. Got a lot of money. You're going up against Miami. Got a lot of money. And they can't do shit multiple times against you. You're doing shit to where kids come to Baton Rouge. They're not even taking visits. They're not even taking visits to Oregon because of what you're doing. Jordan Seaton included. Every time I posted whatever it takes, the hint that I was sending out on Twitter was simple. Basically, guys, they're doing whatever it takes. And they did. Now, you can talk about the uncle and all of that situation. All of that's moot by now, right? None of that matters anymore now because you got him. Because you had a GM in this entire process who also would not take no for an answer when your former GM is throwing his new head coach under the bus publicly per Dabo, allegedly. Allegedly. Because you got to run the football in this league. And getting Jordan Seaton, who's really good at it, pad level needs to come down. He's got some things he's got to work on. Because it's like getting a Will Campbell in the transfer portal. That's how talented he is. That is how skilled he is. That is how gifted he is. And that is what you're probably and more than likely going to get at your left tackle. A bona fide top 10 pick. You add that with Ball. You add that with Braylon Moore. You add that with potentially Harper or Solomon Thomas. Can Weston Davis at right tackle figure it out? And by the way, if they don't, you got other guys that you brought in here. You're going to continue to laugh at this. And people who will listen to this show that are not LSU fans will laugh at this. They love Jacoby Jones out of Colin. Love him. They love him. They think that they got a steal in Jacoby Jones. So you see the pieces, you see the talent, you see the overall process of what you're doing. Now the question will become along the offensive line. You know, and you feel good, and you should feel good at left tackle and what you just did. You got a guy who is athletic, a freak of a left tackle, has athleticism really of a defensive tackle that I think could play there, to be honest with you. That's a level of athleticism that you're getting with Seaton. But I think this offensive line, quite frankly, across the board is not only an upgrade, it's a massive upgrade because I think Baugh can play. Hopefully, Braylon Moore stays healthy. And if not, you got a backup center who's got SEC experience and SEC reps. And by the way, when we talk about an upgrade, right, when we talk about an upgrade, 100% a bigger of an upgrade than what DJ Chester was. You have on the right side of your offensive line 2 5-star guys in Solomon Thomas potentially and Weston Davis. So you know that you have the talent there. Weston Davis doing a 360, getting underneath a basket, jumping up and dunking in a high school basketball game still exists. Can you get the most out of him will be the question. You have Solomon Thomas and you have Harper. Harper being a top 100 guy. You have the number 1 interior offensive lineman in Solomon Thomas. Can you hit there? Can you develop there? Will be a massive question mark. You're not going to be 16th in the SEC in rushing, and you're not going to be in the 120s in rushing under Lane Kiffin. You're going to now bring in a coaching staff and a strength and conditioning staff that is going to be more physical. You're going to be more physical. I'm already going to tell you, well, Blake, what about Weston Davis? What about right guard? What about this? I don't give a shit. Lane has figured that out everywhere he's gone. You're going to continue to do that. It's not even a question for me. Not even remotely a question if your offensive line will be more physical. It starts with Jordan Seaton. It starts with Baugh. So a Ball plays right guard, left guard, whatever it may be. Regardless of all of that, guys, your offensive line from an on-paper standpoint may be set. And let me just tell you, it's a massive upgrade. In reference to what you had to do here in this recruitment, there's going to be a lot of, this is what this guy told me, and this is what this guy's saying. And let me just take a quick sidebar. Can we wait for the kids to commit first? Sources confirming to me. Come on, bro. Come on. With that being said, guys, you pulled out every single rabbit that you had in your hat. Every single one of them. In the Brian Kelly era, I feel like there were a lot of times when we as fans would come out here and say, just move on, right? Just move on. If he wants to play games, move on. You know who says stuff like that? Losers. So the other night when everybody's in the chat coming in here and saying, man, let's just move on. Let's just move on. Well, no, because when you don't move on and you show relentless abandon and you go and get the best left tackle and the best offensive lineman in the country, well, guys, talent normally rises to the top. Regardless of what you want to say about Miami, by the way, Miami had the best lines of scrimmage from a talent standpoint, maybe not named Indiana, but Indiana was just so much older than everybody. And they got to the dance. They got there. Now you start asking the question, what can this offensive line be? I have a lot of hope for them. I think it's an upgrade. You upgrade. I'm going to tell you this right now. You've upgraded at left tackle. I don't even know who your starting left guard's going to be. You've upgraded there. You got the same offense, your same center that you had from a season ago. You got Ball at right guard out of Maryland. Massive upgrade from Josh Thompson. Massive. I don't even think Josh Thompson maybe could count to 1,500, much less only give up one sack and 1,500 snaps. And I got to tell you, I'm still holding out a lot of hope for Weston Davis, and I still think he could be a good player. And if he's not, well, then Darren Stry is going to have to be ready. He's going to have to be ready. And you got more depth than I think, playable depth than what you've had. Actual playable depth. So, with that being said, what an outright dominating feat. Back to the recruitment for just a moment. I think that when this thing first started and Jordan Seaton goes into the portal, a lot of people that they're reporting, hey, man, he's probably going to go to Texas. Texas might have been the one that got him in the portal because they got the most money and they need a left tackle. Well, for whatever reason, Texas pivoted and went with the kid from Wake Forest, who I also think is really good. Well, then Oregon, LSU, and Miami got involved. Now, he goes to Mississippi State. That's kind of like to pay homage to his former offensive line coach. He goes to Miami with Mario Cristobal, who is the best developer of offensive linemen right now. Then he comes to you. And quite frankly, ever since he stepped down, Jordan Seaton stepped down in Baton Rouge, it has been you the entire time. Now that this is over, did he commit to you days ago and then some things were trying to be finalized? Yes. Yes. But even in all of the negotiations, is what I'm going to call them, even in the negotiations, you just didn't give up. And at 9 p.m. on a Friday night, when, quite frankly, Lane could have just been home, he's at the facility getting shit done. You had to battle for this one just as much as you had to battle for Sam Levitt. Maybe even a little bit more. Because the Sam Levitt situation, you didn't really screw it up. You did not tell Damon Williams to go into the portal when Sam Levitt was on campus. They didn't do that. But you had to pay the penance for it. You had to pay the portal tax is what I call it. Here, you had to meet Jordan Seaton where he wanted to be, and you didn't blink. And again, I will tell you, Lane and Billy Glasscock have done an exceptional job at being able to bring kids in, lock them down, and not let them move on. You did that with Ty Benefield. You did that with Jordan Ross. You did that with Jaylen Brown. You did that pretty much with Jordan Seaton. You did it for every single human being at wide receiver. You did it at tight end. You did it at running back. Every majority of the time, probably 95% of the time, when a kid stepped down in Baton Rouge, this staff said, hey, man, here, what's your number? Sounds good. We're matching it. We're going to hit that number for you. And we're going to bring you in, and you better come in and compete. And they didn't leave. And they didn't leave. You're getting the best left tackle in the country, in my opinion. He is that special. He is that good. Again, are there things he needs to work on? Yeah, there are things that he needs to work on. But it feels like to me right now, from these kids in the portal, yeah, are you spending money? Sure. But it also feels cool to play in Baton Rouge. It also feels cool to come down here and be a part of what Lane Kiffin's doing. And you got your swag back. You finally went back and got your swag back. You have never. You basically pulled off a Jay Johnson. You just pulled off a Jay Johnson in football. You want to know what it looks like? You just pulled it off. This is incredible, man. To the likes of that we've never seen. You've never recruited like this in football. Not like this. Not like this. This is different. So everybody wants to talk about it's just different. Lane posting it. Everybody talking about it's just different. Well, let me tell you what else is different. You. You're different. The way you're acting is different. The way you're moving is different. The way your administration is moving is different. The way your government is moving is different. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Bro, this dude came down to Baton Rouge and got a private escort from Louisiana State Police to the governor's mansion. How do you think all this shit went down? You're all adults in here. You know what happened. I know what happened. Your grandmammy with no teeth in the nursing home knows what happened. My grandmammy knows what happened. God rest to my Nana and my Mima Jewel. Everybody knows. And you know who else knows? The entire country. I don't know how the entire country is viewing this right now and what Lane Kiffin has done and Billy Glasscock has done in the transfer portal. But you got to look at LSU right now and say, whoa. You go out and get the number one edge. You go out and get the number one quarterback. You go out and get the number one left tackle. You do what you do at wide receiver. You do what you do along the defensive line, not named Prince Will Omam. You go and bring in TJ Dodery. You go and bring in Ty Benefield. The nation looks at you right now, and most of them are punching air. Ole Miss is definitely punching air. We'll talk about Ole Miss in a minute. They're definitely punching air. But the country looks at you right now, whether you want to admit it or not, you want to call it rat poison or not, I don't give two Rudy Poos what you want to call it. The entire country is looking at LSU right now and saying, yeah, that looks like a playoff team. Regardless of what all of the changes around college football looks like, look at all the talent that they brought in. So to finish this out about Jordan Seaton, before we get to that, I think you just got a top 10 pick at left tackle. He's really good with his hands. He's got really good feet. He's very physical. He's highly athletic. And guys, quite frankly, he's so damn big, pause. He's so damn big and so damn strong that when guys try to get underneath him, he physically just dominates them, like a David Bailey, like a John Henry Daly. He is a special player, man. He is a special, special player. And you dominated when you need to. You shoved Dan Lanning and Mario Cristobal in a locker. You shoved them in a locker. They're all going to come out and say, well, you overspent for him. No one, or Oregon, bullshit. You've overspent for everybody. You spent more money. You've spent more money than anybody in all of this. And nothing's happened for you, really. So don't come at me with that. You got shoved in a locker by crawfish money, by MMR money, by oil money, real oil money, construction money. You got slapped in the face with it. This is different. You're different. You know, y'all remember in school when you were in high school and maybe you didn't see a girl that, you grown up with her your whole life, and you leave your sophomore year and you don't really see her the entire summer, and then you go back to school and both of you are juniors, and then little Sarah comes walking up and you're like, damn. Her milkshake does bring all the boys to the yard. Everyone's looking at you like, damn. Ding, 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 ding. My milkshake brings other boys to the yard. But it's true. You know exactly what, if you're a dude, you know exactly. When I just said that, you knew exactly what I meant. Damn. It is highly impressive. It is highly impressive what you've pulled off. So, guys, there are no secrets about how you pulled this off. There are none. Kid came in, you courted them, you showed them everything, you told them what you were going to do. Lane has not missed on what he's told people he was going to do. He hadn't missed. We have the best offense in the country. I am the best offensive play caller in the country. So either you're going to come play with it or go to a team in Oregon who does not have a reasonable OC that can get you there. What do you want to do? All right, well, but and you're paying me, and I don't have to go in the south, in the northeast or northwest, and freeze my godforsaken ass off. Yeah, it's impressive. So, look, man, offensively, we'll get to this we'll get to it now. No, we'll get to it in a minute. So, Lane Kiffin came out and stated on Twitter, it is just different, and that was the grand finale. He's telling you this thing's over. It's done. Like, they might get some more. They might still look at some more, but this is the grand finale. When you look at this team on paper, you got 3 of the top 5 guys out of the transfer portal. You look at the offense and say, okay, what can this team for LSU be? You go out and you get Sam Levitt. You bring Harlem Berry back and Caden Durham, and you add Dylan Jones. At wide receiver, you bring in Jace Brown. You bring in Trey Brown. You bring in Jackson Harris. You bring in Eugene Wilson. That adding with the most versatile tight end in the country in Trey Green. You bring in Jordan Seaton. You bring in Ball. You got some really young but very talented pieces in Weston Davis, Solomon Thomas, and Devin Harper. So when I look on paper of what you've been able to bring in and what your current offense looks like at the current moment, for me, that looks like that it has the potential to be one of the most high-flying and one of the more physical units in the entire SEC, if not the entire country. Are there questions about what this offense is going to be? Yes. Can you actually figure it out along your offensive line? Do some of those guys that are young and inexperienced, do they have lapses? I'm sure they will. All young players do. At receiver, can you figure it all out and stay completely healthy? Can guys take their talents from a place like Hawaii and come in and translate that into the SEC? Can guys in the Big 12 translate that into the SEC? Can guys like Eugene Wilson stay healthy all season long? Can Lane develop and take a guy like Winston Watkins to the next level? You look at it all and say, man, you got a lot of explosiveness on your offense from the skill position. How they're going to utilize Trey Green is by far, for me, though, probably the thing I want to know most, because he is a mismatch everywhere. You bring in the best left tackle. You bring in a really good offensive line with a quarterback that can really be mobile, run, and throw the football at a very accurate clip. Sam Levitt's foot will be a question. Him probably missing spring will be a big question. So there are questions along your offense. Have you brought in a lot of talent? So now that you brought them all in, now you got to get connectivity. You got to bring all of them together. You got to have some cohesiveness. You got to get timing down. Speaking of Sam Levitt, guys, he recruited his ass off for Jordan Seaton. Of course he did. He needs to be protected. He needs to be protected. But you're yin and yang in this in some degree. You see all the talent on paper. The question is, can you put it all together? Because if you can put it all together and it hits on what you think it can do and the potential can be, guys, you're going to have a top 10 offense in the country. That's where I am. If you have if Sam Levitt doesn't come back to where he was, if some of these receivers can't translate into the SEC, if some of these offensive linemen and the inexperience does hurt them, those can be issues that you're unable to overcome. I don't think that that's happening. I just don't think that that's happening. Then you turn over to the defensive side of the football. You have Prince Will Yellen. And for the first time, since Braden Swinson, but for the first time since 2016, you have a guy on your team that in the SEC has had 9 sacks plus. You have 2 interior defensive guys that are really physical and really good in the interior of that defensive line that can help you stop the run. Can they start generating pressure on quarterbacks to try to help out with Prince Will Yellen and others? You got a 5-star in Jordan Ross. You have Jaylen Brown. And is Gabe Relaford coming out of injury? Can he find a way to find himself inside that edge room and make a move? At linebacker, you have 2 of the most experienced linebackers in college football today. A combined starters of well over 400 tackles is in that linebacker room. In the DB room. And by the way, just going back to linebacker, and I still think that you got some young thoroughbreds at backer. I think CJ Ross is going to be really good. I think Breaker is going to be really good. And then I think at your secondary, combined with that linebacker room, you got so much speed. So you got a lot of experience at the places that it means most. Then you go out to corner, guys, DJ Pickett's DJ Pickett. And Corey's they're going to be even better, which is scarier. PJ Woodland made the biggest developmental move from year 1 to year 2 than anybody on this roster. I will debate a tree stump with that. If a tree stump started yapping about PJ Woodland, he's made a massive jump. Guys, did he give up some catches? Sure, you're going to. Was he all over receivers all year long, like white on rice on a paper plate in a snowstorm? Without a doubt. And I think at safety, Deshaun Spears is going to be a guy. I think Ty Benefield was the best safety in the portal and will light you up like a Christmas tree. Tamarcus Cooley's got 3 years of starting experience. And I think that Fahim Delane, one of the best safeties in the portal, is going to push him for playing time. Guys, defensively, even in the depth piece of this, you're loaded. Donovan Keys is your third backer. Your backup defensive tackles are the number 1 and number 2 defensive tackles in this year's high school recruiting class. You got to find some depth at edge, and you got to hit there. But you got Prince Will. So can somebody else hit? And at corner, you're fine. So now you bring all of that in. You see the number 1 quarterback. You see what you can do in the run game, because I think Harlan Berry, who we haven't talked about, I think Harlan Berry will make a move. I like Dylan Jones a lot. You look at this team as a whole and say to yourself, look, man, is it far-fetched to say that you can make a run? Now, the question's part of this, because there's always 2 sides of it. I do think that you can make the argument that you have the toughest schedule in the country, without a doubt. When that happens, guys, you're going to lose. And year 1, game 1, snap 1 under a new regime is always tough. Thank God that game's at home. However, with the schedule being as brutal as it is, I think you have the talent and depth that you could overcome it. Along the offense, just like I said, I think you got the skill position. I think you got the talent. Can you find the cohesiveness? Can you find a way to come together? Can you find a way to get your timing down? And then defensively, it just really comes down to, can you stop a running quarterback, and can you take another step from being a top 25 defense? Can you get to that top 10? On paper, you stare a playoff in the face. Now, we'll get out there during the spring. We'll start finding this out. This thing could really ramp up, right? Like, this thing could really, really ramp up. Like, this doesn't feel 2019 to me. You know what this feels like to me? This feels like 2023 LSU baseball to me, where you went out and you got a shitload of talent. A shitload of talent from the portal. Major League Baseball dudes. Paul Skeens level dudes. Now, Paul Skeens is generational. I don't know if you brought in a generational talent, but you get what I mean. You bring in a Tommy Tanks. You bring in a lot of big-time pieces on that team. Big-time pieces. Riley Cooper. Like, Riley Cooper wasn't the biggest name star and delivered for you when he needed to. This is the most impressive. Guys, AYS launched in 2017. Outside of the 2019 season and the 2 baseball title runs, for me, I don't think that I've seen something this impressive in recruiting in a minute. This is ridiculous. So I still want to see them. I still want to go through spring. We can still change our minds. We can still, and I'm just saying that because you never know what's going to happen. But I look at this team and go, dude, you have a lot to be proud of, and you have a lot to look forward to. So, by the way, spring starts, I'm pretty sure, like March the 5th, March the 4th, 5th. You're going to go through February, and guys, these dudes are on the field. So you got really 40 days, 45 days, and they're in spring football. Highly impressive stuff, man. I question the schedule. Levitt's injury. I mean, look, what is Sam Levitt going to be? That's the real question that we got to ask offensively. Lane's not going to suck in the run game. Oh, well, Blake, what about 2 seasons ago? Yeah, that's a different beast. You're not going to suck it in your run game. You're not going to be 16th. I promise you that. What's the status level of Sam Levitt? And then defensively, I mean, it always is going to be about your lines of scrimmage on both sides, really. And I think at corner and linebacker, you're going to be really good. And all of those guys defensively, you have your biggest player mouthpiece in Whit Weeks that can teach the guys the ropes about what needs to be done. You're one. You have top 5 talent in the sport right now. You have top 5 talent in the sport. Can you get to where you ultimately want to go? Will be the question. All right, before we get to the super chats, I want to get to this. Yeah, Angel Reese. I forgot about the women's basketball and Angel Reese. That's a good one to add. You're right. That team was special too, bringing in Angel and all of them too. It's a bit, yeah, I forgot about that one. Before we get to super chats and start fielding a lot of questions, I'm sure that we got a lot that are trickling in here. Number one, today Dabo Swinney did a press conference with his athletic director in reference to a linebacker that they went and got from Cal out of the transfer portal, who's now at Ole Miss, who signed with Clemson, was in classes in Clemson, and now is at Ole Miss. So Dabo came out today and I'm just going to paraphrase, and said Pete Golding tampered personally. Told again, instead of 1 year, $1 million deal, I'm going to give you a 2 year, $2 million deal. The young man went to compliance. He re-entered the transfer portal, and off to Ole Miss he went. So Dabo went scorched earth today on Pete Golding. He also threw Austin Thomas completely under the bus because he provided text messages, did Dabo Swinney, of your former GM and Austin Thomas throwing his head coach underneath the bus. Here's just what I'm going to tell you. Ole Miss has been the most hypocritical team in all of this. Whether it was from the beginning of this and them trying to play the victim with their athletic director and Keith Carter just mismanaging the entire situation. Why were you in Hammond, Louisiana going after John Summerall? And before any Ole Miss fan says that he wasn't, screenshots and pictures on this phone never lie. Why did Matt Bowers plane go from Oxford to Hammond, Louisiana? It wasn't for his. He says it was family related. No, it wasn't. You know why? Because people are at the airport. It's just not true. So you mismanaged this entire situation from the beginning. You knew Lane was leaving. You know LSU. Deep down, you know LSU is the better place to be. They pushed you in a locker. They made Walter Jones and Keith Carter and their athletic department, LSU in the last 2.5 months, made Ole Miss look like paper mache. They made Ole Miss, and they laughed at them when they said, brother, you think that you can really do this? No. We're going to come into your trap. We're going to take your head coach, and then we're going to go out in the portal, and then we're going to dominate more than you, and they did. So now what has happened that TJ Dotery left Ole Miss because, quite honestly, a lot of those players probably wanted to jump ship. They made an emotional decision when they shouldn't have. And you went and got Winnie Watkins. You went and got Principal Oh Mom Yellen. You went and got probably a guy that you needed just as much in TJ Dotery. And Ole Miss is now pointing the finger at Lane Kiffin saying, he's the reason that we had to do this. No, they didn't want to be there. They didn't want to be there. They jumped ship. You had one offensive player jump. You had two defensive players jump. I thought they loved Pete Golding. So now Dabo has come out and claimed that they've been tampering. And they said, well, you've been doing it, and they've been threatening lawsuits. Their media is out there threatening lawsuits against you. Bring that shit. Because when we've talked about it on this show, what I've stated from the beginning, Frank Wilson's tampering. Frank Wilson's still tampering. I do not want to hear that he's not. Because guys, that's a bold-faced lie. And he tampered. Do you really think Frank Wilson sat here for 2 weeks and didn't try to get players to follow him to Ole Miss? Do y'all really believe that? Do you, reporting from people that you think that you know aside, do you really think Frank Wilson sat in LSU's facility for 2 weeks and did not tamper? So now they're blaming this whole situation on you. No, what you shouldn't have done was mismanage your contracts and lowball players and bring in other players for more money, and then that get leaked. You didn't know how to manage the situation without Lane. You didn't. Principal Human Yellen's not worth $1 million. If you told any Ole Miss fan right now that you're going to pay a guy that could potentially get to double-digit sacks in the SEC next season, that you're going to pay him $1 million, they'd be like, that's it? That's all. That's all you're going to pay? Yeah. Spare me. Spare me. The NCAA came out and said that they're going to investigate this. They're going to point it at you. They're going to point a smoking gun at you. This is only going to ramp up. Now, I think Dabo and everything Dabo said today, quite frankly, is you can say he's being a Karen. You can say that he's doing X, Y, and Z. But even if LSU is doing it, everything Dabo said in that press conference today is 100% true. It's 1,000% true. Everybody is doing it. But it's some bullshit. Ole Miss said, we got an upgrade. No, you did not. Because I promise you that kid's going to get his ass whooped when he plays LSU. He's going to get that ass whooped. This isn't Cal. They are the biggest hypocrites on the face of the planet. They always have been. I know I made jokes about their daddy working at Goldman Sachs. My dad works for Goldman Sachs. But this is a fan base when they look at you in the face and go, hey, bro, like, what fraternity are you pledging? Hey, bro, do you want some Bud Heavies? This is the fan base that snorts cocaine. This is the fan base that attacks women and children. This is the fan base that wears blazers and khakis and button-downs to football games. This is a fan base that's got a Zaxby's and a Waffle House and a Dairy Queen when you get off their exit. And you got to go to Tupelo to get a hotel. This is a fan base who, quite frankly, is the biggest laughingstock right now because Lane Kiffin just showed you it was him. He just proved to you it was him. He's going to do that again on September the 19th. He's going to do it again. We have Trinidad. Okay. And we have Lane Kiffin and Sam Levitt. Bring it. Bring it. All right. I really, they're hypocrites. And listen, I don't blame Pete Golding whatsoever. I blame Pete Golding none. None. I think that fan base is abhorrent. Hey, bro, did you see Jessica? Like, she's got a fat ass. Hey, bro. I feel like every Ole Miss white dude's name is like Seth. Hey, it's Seth. Hey, Braxton. No, Braxton's a good one. Now, they might go out there and redshirt Miss Americas. I don't care. You can have fine women. We got fine women too. But y'all all come from a one-story apartment building and y'all act like you're rich. You ain't rich. My daddy works at Goldman Sachs. I don't give a flying shit. My grandpappy planted strawberries. And he beat your grandpappy's ass. I mean, it's a joke. They're a joke. I don't think I've ever wanted to beat a team more. Really and truthfully. Really and truthfully. Hey, Broxton. Yeah, man. My dad, dude, he's putting $500 a month for me in a Roth IRA, and I don't even have to fund it. How crazy is that? Yeah. Like, I've had a Roth IRA since I was like 18. Like, my 18th year old birthday party, he gave me documents of a Roth IRA. Yeah. Tax free, bro. That's what the Roth is. Do you have an established 401k? Hey, can I get a Macallan neat? I mean, that's them. That is them. Yeah, my dad got this Macallan 12, bro. Do you like want to drink some? That's them. All right. How you going to talk shit? Yes, I saw this in the gym. How you going to talk shit when you got a blazer and penny loafers on? How, if you're an Ole Miss fan, how you going to talk shit with your flippy hair and you got a blazer and penny loafers on? Bro, get your ass up out of here. I have a black friend. Those are the people that do that. Yeah, my buddy Darren. My buddy Darren. That is Ole Miss. All right. Let's get to some super chats. Showtime with a $5 super chat says, but Blake, I thought it was foolish for Lane to leave Ole Miss for LSU. Not foolish now. I wonder what those fools on College Game Day minus Saban have to say now. STT DB. Yeah, I feel like Paul Feinbaum is punching air right now. I got to be real with you. Pat McAfee had a lot of shit to say. Like, even McAfee had a lot of shit to say. What are you saying about it now? What are you saying about it now? If any of you watch the UFC, Patty Pimblett fights tomorrow night. And Patty's thing has been, what now? What now? What now? Yeah, what now? What do you have to say about it now? Because Paul's now going to have to start backing LSU because he works for the SEC. The SEC hasn't won a national title in the last 3 times, even though Michigan cheated. And I do think that there's going to come stuff of this Indiana cheating scandal thing. I don't think shit like that comes out of thin air. I don't. So, yeah. Lane, I think when Lane said that I needed Ole Miss more than Ole Miss needed me, what he means by that is he stopped drinking there. He got healthy there. He got his kids there. He got his life back, right? Like it slowed down for him. He got his life back, right? Now he's in Baton Rouge and it picks up the tempo. And he's got his kids, and he's got his ex-wife, and he's got a top two to 3 brand in all of college football. And he's knocked it out of the park. But the real truth of it is, on the field, not taking aside what Lane maybe personally needed, Ole Miss did need Lane Kiffin. They did need Lane Kiffin. Nothing happened to UI. I see this. Nothing. There's rumors out there that they've been cheating, that they've been hacking into stuff, and I don't really believe it completely, but I don't think it came out of nowhere. I don't. Fred with a $10 super chat says Kiffin is going to quote unquote spoil us. Oh yeah, offensively, guys. And again, like even when like Sorsby left or the thing with Sam Levitt happened the first time and everybody's freaking out. And I'm like, guys, you got to relax. You got to understand who your head coach is. Name a time Lane's offenses have sucked. Please name them. Please. Maybe 2 years ago, maybe. And that's a big maybe. Don't push the maybe. Baby. And that even then, guys, there's just not going to be there are things that I worry about with Lane Kiffin at LSU. Having a good offense is the dead last one on them. It's the very last thing on that list. There are things you should worry about. Sure, you worry about it with everybody. Having a good offense, a good quarterback, a good system is dead last on that list. Dead last. I don't know if this man couldn't have a good offense with a cricket as his quarterback. but he's going to spoil you offensively. And here's the truth. So many money people are backing him. They're backing him because he's going to them right now. Look, you give Lane big money, he wears the Our Lady of the Lake hat. He posts all the stuff in MMR. Guys, they could give $20 million of NIL. The return on investment is that everybody knows MMR. Everybody knows OLOL. Like they know, oh shit, they're pushing that. They pushing them stacks. Yeah, they are. Yes, they are. That's worth its investment in and of itself. So, Wayno with a $5 super chat says, I can't wait to see old Piss fans' faces after the Tigers whip that candy ass next season. Me either. And I think it's so funny. Like I CC'd on Twitter, not Ben Spirit. What the hell is his name? Ben Garrett. Brother, you was out here. Oh my God, LSU's tampering. Oh, they're tampering with their roster. Look what you just did. Well, you're the reason we did it. Yeah. Yes. Because who would want to live? Everybody, who would want to live in Baton Rouge? Who in the flying hell would want to live in Oxford? You're trying to hook up with a girl, you got to go on a date, you got to go to the damn Dairy Queen. I love milkers, but I don't like Dairy Queen milkers. I mean, come on, man. Oh. What's the guy on The Simpsons? The guy with the blue hair, the kid with the glasses. What's his name? And every time he something doesn't go his way, he goes, oh. Antonio with a $10 super chat says, great day for Louisiana in the number one portal class of all time. That is true, my friend. He says, in the great words of Forrest Gump in regards to Ole Miss, stupid is, stupid does. Ain't that the truth? Guys, this is the best portal class in college football's history. Sam Levitt, Jordan Seaton, Princewell Omam-Yellen, the receiving class. You bring in Dylan Jones. You bring it. Zach Grace is going to play a massive factor in this for you. I think Dylan Jones is going to be another X factor. You bring in Ball. You bring in Devin Harper. On the defense, you bring in Blockton. You bring in Steph Green. You bring in a 5-star in Jordan Ross. You get Princewell Omam-Yellen. You get TJ Dotery to go alongside with Whit Weeks. You get Ty Benefield to play that star. You get Fahim Delane, and the worst thing that's going to happen there, guys, he's your fourth safety. And he sits a year, and then he starts next year, and he's a top 50 player. Yeah, it's the best portal class of all time. Didn't even bring up Hassan Longstreet in that. Didn't even bring up Landon Clark in that. Didn't bring them up yet because what I'm talking about, when we're talking about this, we're talking about the frontline starting guys that we assume are going to be there. I mean, do you have to see what happens with Sam Levitt's foot? Without a doubt. Without a doubt. But your future is set too with Hassan Longstreet, who I think has got the biggest upside of anybody on your team, really, outside of maybe Trey'Dez Green and Jordan Seaton and Princewell Omam-Yellen. Potentially. Because those guys have just already done it. Richie Roche with Roche's Lawn and Landscaping with a $20 super chat says, Blake, you said he would get one of two. I've never said that. You thought for sure this dude went out there and got both of them. Spot the damn ball. Let's go. I never said he'd get one of two. I said I think at minimum he would get one out of two. At minimum. And he got at minimum. I've never, the way that you word that is like me saying that I only thought you're going to get one or two. Never said you're getting one or two. I said at minimum you're getting one of the two. But I appreciate the super chat. But yes, you did get both of them. What I mean by that is, and just like I said in that segment, is you are going to get at least one of them. Question is, were you going to land both of them? But you didn't land both of them. Brandon says, let's go Tigers. Blake, I'm really maybe ready. I'm really ready to see this team play well. Me too, brother. Me too, and I think everybody else is. Me too. I mean, because guys, I look. I'm not just saying this. People like I got somebody said, "Oh, the only reason you're saying to keep up with football all year is because so you can get views." Well, number one, sure, I will take all the views I can get. I'm an independent contractor. Yeah, sure. Number two, you tell me how that statement's false, because we go out there in spring and we start seeing this team. Yeah. Yes. Because this could be the start. I mean, what if this is the start of a playoff run? Yeah. You're damn Skippy. It's going to be fun to watch because I think you know what you're going to get with Lane offensively. I think that you have a pretty damn good idea what you get with Blake Baker defensively. I think you can get into a top 20 defensive slate. And I think you'll be top 20 offensively. That smells like a playoff to me. Schedule or not. Your schedule is brutal, though. Your schedule is brutal. You got to take down Alabama. You're going to have to take down Alabama or Texas. You can't lose to both of them. Both of those games are at home. You're going to have to take down A&M. You're going to have to take down Clemson. You're going to have to take down, you go on the road for some big games here. You're going to have to take down an Ole Miss. Like some of those games, you might even lose one. Hell, you might even lose two for all we know. But you're going to have to go up against some really good teams and take them down. You have the talent to go and do that. You had the talent defensively last year to go and do that. And offensively, you're not going to suck as much. So there's not as much pressure on you defensively to do that. Remember now, I'm the one on message boards that you say that I am I'm a hater. Oh, Blake's a hater. He had us going 8-4. Truth is, as truth does. Truth is, as truth does. All right. Richie sends a $20 super chat, says we're going to lay that smack down on some candy ass this year. I think that we will. I think we are. I really, really think we are. I think we're going to be good. Very good. Greg with a $5 super chat says spot the damn ball. I'm ready for it, man. I'm ready for it. It's going to be massive. It's a massive season. You got Clemson and Ole Miss in a 3-week span. Shit. I think that Clemson game's going to rock socks off of people. It's going to rock the socks off of people. That place is going to be buzzing. Then you go into Ole Miss week 3. Guys, college game day is going to be there. Lane Kiffin's return to Ole Miss. That is going to be the most toxic environment of all time. I mean, people have made jokes about, well, he's going to need extra security. He is. I just hope nobody gets hurt, really. And I mean that. Oh, he's worried about people. Yeah, I'm worried about people getting hurt. Hopefully that and here's the thing, guys, they're attacking my kids and family on social media. What do you think they're going to do when they see Lane in a stadium? What do you think they're going to do? So you got Bama at home, you got Texas at home, you got Texas A&M at home. This might be a season like on any other. Very well could be. Showtime with a $10 super chat says, Blake, it's time to have that convo. If Baker does what we expect him to do in year 3 with this defense, I think we'll be making a run to the playoffs because Lane and Charlie Weiss will have the offense on lock. I actually flipped that to some degree. There's your offensive line. What are they going to do? Your quarterback situation, your wide receivers. But I did tweet this out. Yeah, I think it's time to have that conversation. Guys, is it playoffs or bust for you with LSU football? Now, you got a lot of questions, as we mentioned, with Sam Leavitt and his foot. You have you have the question of what your offensive line going to look like. What are these receivers? How's that going to all shake out? You got Harlan Berry returning, who was the number 1 running back in a couple of classes ago. You have the number one tight end in the country and Trey'Dez Green, the athletic freak that is. I mean, and you got the best overall offensive play caller. You had a top 27 defense, a number 27 defense in the country last year. You got to replace Mansour Delane. That's not easy. I think to some degree it's kind of impossible. You got to replace A.J. Halsey. But I think Ty Benefield is really freaking good. And I think that you have an offense that's going to take off the pressure of this defense. Now, you're going to run tempo and you're going to be hurry up and you're going to do a lot of things. But it's still going to take the pressure off of you. And I hope Lane and them can calm some things down in specific moments to give this defense a rest. But you're going to be explosive on both sides of things. And I think that you have that ability. So, Gus, to be honest with you, do I think you have top 8 talent in all of college football right now? Yeah, I do. Yes, I do. So, are you able to take that talent and get to the playoff? If he goes in the playoff in year 1, my God. I think you have a talent. You had the talent on paper to make a run. But again, offensive line, defensive line, quarterback, health, just overall timing. I mean, there are questions. So we'll see. A Truckers Travels with a big-time super chat here, $100 super chat. Thank you so much. Very humbled. Says, when I said the other day, let's go full throttle, oh, my God, not Portal King, Portal Master. He is. There is, this is the funniest thing in this whole Ole Miss debacle that we find ourselves in, this whole Ole Miss rivalry. In the beginning of all of this, they said, well, the only reason players were going to Ole Miss was because of Pete Golding. Pete was the one that recruited all those kids and got all this talent here. And Walter Jones was the only reason. Nobody likes Lane Kiffin. What's the excuse right now that they have the number 1 portal class? What's the excuse now that they got the number 1 quarterback, number 1 offensive lineman, and number 1 edge rusher? By the way, one of those players are from your team. So what's the excuse now? Well, I'm going to tell you what their excuse is. Their excuse is going to be, well, Blake, you paid them a lot of money to go to your school. Of course, people are going to go there for money. Why do you think they went to Ole Miss? Why do you think that they went to Ole Miss? Did they go to Ole Miss to wear blazers and penny loafers and drink Bud Heavies? Did they go for the local Dairy Queen? Now, I can make the argument that some of them may have gone because they do redshirt Miss Americas at Ole Miss. I'm with you there. Why do you think that they went to Oxford? Clearly, it's not because of Pete Golding. I think that they are trying to cope with so many different things. And Lane having success, quite frankly, is the start that we had when Nick went to Bama and started having success in recruiting. Oh, shit. Here he goes. Guys, we've lived this. We have lived a former coach going to a rival inside the SEC, a team that you play every year, and him going somewhere else and having the success that we wish he would have had here. Difference is Nick won one here and he won a lot more at Alabama. Question is, can Lane not win one at Ole Miss, but actually come to LSU and do? Every time that national championships in New Orleans, LSU seems to find themselves there. And that's in 2028. Do you break a curse and do it 1 year before and then do it again? Who knows? But it is the portal. He is the portal master. Penn Jones with a $50 super chat says, bam, the portal king strikes again. Now everyone can see why he wanted the LSU job, without a doubt. And Penn, he's proven a point here, right? Like, he's proven a point that this is the place that he said it was. See, I think Lane has done a lot of this too to show people, y'all really don't know what I be doing. Y'all really don't. How do you think Lane was received in New Orleans this week? Oh, I can't do this without Frank Wilson? Watch this shit. Oh, I can't have the number 1 overall portal class without Walter Jones and Pete Golding? Watch this shit. I want my coach to be, I'm going to say this, it's going to come off wrong. Narcissistic's not the word, but I think Nick Saban is a massive narcissist in a good way, in a very, very, very good way. To the football degree of it, 1,000%. That is exactly how I want my head coach. Exactly how Jay Johnson is, Lane Kiffin is, Kim Mulkey is, Nick Saban is. That's exactly how I want my head coach to be built. I think that people that have success and have massive success in the areas and fields that they have success in, whether it's coaching, whether it's business, whether it's podcasting, regardless of what it is, when you are out there working harder than everyone and you have a mental switch that clicks and goes, you're just not going to deny me. You're not going to deny the inevitable. When you put your head down and get to work and you do it and you get aligned with the right people, I will speak for myself. Look at the little logo right down there below you. So now we've hired a team. We've got 2 in merch. We have producer Brandon. We have Jack. And we're adding another slot here in the next couple of weeks. And then myself. A team of 6. When you align yourself in the right situations, in the overall right situations, and you put your freaking head down and you get to work, there's nothing that you guys that are what there's 9,710 of you in here. To all 9,700 of you that are listening right now, do what you want to do, but you got to put the work in. You can't sit on your couch and eat a quesadilla and Funyuns and think that shit's going to work. But you have a coach that is going into this, putting his head down. Oh, what can I not do? What can I not do? Shit. And he's doing it and delivering. Noah Blair, who's been a member for 2 months, says the franchise could be there. If Lane stays here long enough, you could. I just want LSU to go on a dynasty run. I will never ask for another Christmas present as long as I live. It'll be my Christmas present for the rest of my life. Go on a 10-year dynasty run. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. General Grievous with a $5 super chat says, I didn't believe that this was possible after Brian Kelly. We have so many stars on now. Tiger Stadium looks like the night sky. Also, Ole Miss get effed. Yeah, you do. You do. And, you know, I think that here's the thing, General Grievous. I don't believe you believe that. Let me tell you why. I think you knew something like this was possible at LSU. It took the right human being to come in here and do it. It took the right human being to come in here and do it. Lane is the right person at the right time. And I think that you had to go through the lumps of Brian Kelly and Scott Woodward, quite frankly, to get to where exactly that you are. Because what could Scott have done for Brian Kelly? And I'm not going down that rabbit hole again, but it is what it is. And let me just say this. Did y'all watch Jay Johnson press conference today? Did you hear the comment of Jay saying, look now, this administration has got, and university has got to continue to give money to baseball if they want to keep having that level of success. What he basically told Verge today without telling him and told him to the boosters, what he's saying to boosters is, hey, man, all right now, Verge knows where that bread's buttered. From a money standpoint, guys, I can name 20 main boosters right now that had RVs in Omaha for 2 weeks. And we're getting planes flown into Omaha to bring them stuff that they need so that they could stay there and work. When I was walking down and I saw a business owner of a company that makes over 100 million sitting there on his laptop, sitting there with his RV, and him and his wife are having coffee, and he's sitting there on his laptop getting to work. Those dudes are all giving money. There were people there during Omaha in June when I was there telling me that, yeah, we ain't giving Brian Kelly shit. And then, saying that probably even if they did, Scott wouldn't let him use it. Get Gooder sends a $5 super chat, says, I like to picture my Jesus in a tuxedo t-shirt because it says I want to be formal, but I'm here to party. Go Tigers. P.S. Lane needs a gold belt. Hashtag BTA. That's a great movie and a great quote. Fantastic quote. I picture my Jesus sitting front row to Leonard Skinner with a tuxedo t-shirt on. Fred sends a $10 super chat, says, we will forever be in debt to A&M for that cheek clapping they gave us in 2025. Print the damn cups. Yeah, they really messed up. They really messed up. But yeah, we do. We do. I mean, that whole, guys, can you imagine? I tweeted this the other day, kind of jokingly. If I would have told you coming out of the game of Texas A&M where you got slaughtered to you fast forward to January the 23rd, that Lane Kiffin's your head coach, you'll get the number one left tackle in the portal, you'll get the number one quarterback in the portal, you'll get the number one edge in the portal, in Blake Ruffino's opinion, you'll get the number one safety in the portal, you'll get a linebacker with more experience than anybody in the portal, and tag team him with Whit Weeks. You bring back both corners that played extremely well. You bring in two very talented and experienced defensive tackles. You bring in a former 5-star edge on the opposite side of the number one edge that you already got. You lock down the state to the top guys that you wanted. Oh, and by the way, you'll keep Harlan Berry and Caden Durham, and you'll add a big-time physical running back. And then you'll have a H-back, fullback that is very physical that you add in there too with Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss. You would have called bullshit. You would have said LSU could have never pulled this off. So you fast forward from that A&M game to right now, and you're like the movie Inception when Leonardo DiCaprio is waking up off the plane. It feels like this couldn't have happened, and it did. And it did. And by the way, here's the crazy part of all this. For about a month and a half of all of that, your staff was here part-time because they were going back to Ole Miss. Nuts, isn't it? Nuts. When you put it all, when you bring it all together, this is the wildest shit ever. This has been, since 2019, this has been the wildest thing that has happened to this place since that night in New Orleans in 2020. And COVID is included. Man, COVID was pretty messed up, but y'all know what I mean. Shaquan with a $5 super chat. He says, I hope his sources never tell him anything again. Breaking news early like that. Yeah. Let the kid have his moment, man. I mean, those are the things that rub me the wrong way. I don't like them. I don't like them because, God, I'm about to go down a bad path. If other people would have done that, the backlash would have been insane. Would have been insane. The kid comes out and tweets, I'm going to be announcing on Twitter or Instagram in 10 minutes. You can't wait 10 minutes. You can't wait 10 minutes. I had a house full of 5 kids in here when all of this was going on. You could have waited 10 minutes. It's Bush League. It really is Bush League. Bayou Bingle with a $5 super chat says, Dabo going scorched earth on those MFers. Hashtag screenshots never lie. Hashtag karma, hashtag hypocrites. Screenshots never die. And he read off the text messages. And Austin Thomas threw Pete Golding underneath the bus. Here's what I believe in that. I think he told Pete from the very beginning what was going on, and he didn't keep anything from him. And they told Austin to play both sides of this. They 100% told, he's like, put it on me. Put it on me. I don't care. And he did. But the Ole Miss is the most weasel fan base of all time. Weasel. You know, I think of Conor McGregor. You little weasel. You little weasel. Why do you have a book you can't even read? Oh, God. Yeah, they never lie. Pete, you got 6,000 cronies in that building. Why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? Oh, and by the way, they're blaming Lane for tipping off Dabo. Hold on. So Ole Miss fans and media are claiming that Lane Kiffin tipped off Dabo. Did you listen to Dabo's conversation? The kid went to Dabo and said that Ole Miss is pursuing him. The agent went to Dabo and said Ole Miss is tampering with him. How's that got shit to do with Lane Kiffin? How? Now, I know that they're going to come up with some really elaborate and orchestrated lie. No. The kid went to Dabo and said, hey, man, I'll give you all these text messages if you give me $1 million. Leverage is a motherfucker. It is a motherfucker. To any kids listening out there and parents, I'm sorry, but it's 10:30 at night. You kids should be asleep. It's a motherfucker. You hear me? Kids, do not repeat that. Do not repeat that. It's a bad word. Don't do it. But it is. There's no other way to explain it. Gorilla Killer with a $5 super chat says, old boy wants to be first so bad that he never lets it his finish first. Let the boy commit before you post. Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. I thought it was Bush League. Roy with a $2 super chat says, so we still worried about Eric Wolford? Yeah, ain't that shit the truth? No, you ain't. And I even brought him up tonight. I think, listen, for Ball, yeah, he was a big deal. For this one, I mean, he was a big deal here too because of what you're bringing in. Guys, this one came down to pushing Oregon in a locker. I mean, you know how this one ultimately went out. But Eric Wolford did not have bad offensive lines. Guys, they won games last year at Kentucky because they couldn't throw the ball, and their O-lines had to carry them. They had to carry them. And they overall weren't a talented team. And you want to blame Eric Wolford for Cutter Boley's actions? Get out of here with that. Get Gooder with a $5 super chat says Cookie Kiffin needs an award, a raise, some V-Bucks, something. The V-Bucks is the V-Bucks is funny. Because if you have kids, you know what V-Bucks are. Thank you, Stephen, for the dollar super chat. Yeah, V-Bucks, that's all been asked for during Christmas time. V-Bucks. That damn Fortnite. I got to look this up. I just had a weird thought. CEO or founder or creator of Fortnite. Tim Sweeney founded the company in 1991. Oh, he's got Gears of War, Fortnite. Oh, shit. Tim Sweeney. I wonder if would be funny is if his daughter's Sydney Sweeney. Hey man, you produced a daughter that's got some big ass titties. God, we got kids on here. I can't be saying that. But she got some melons, boy. This dude that owns Fortnite is worth $7.6 billion. I wonder if he wants to start donating to the LSU collective. Cordell Music with a $5 super chat says, is it possible that Seaton was already enrolled before the deadline? I don't know all of that. I know that they're going to say, but here's the thing. Regardless if he was or not, Wade Roos is going to get him in. They're going to get him in. I have no worry about that. And if they want to play these little games, then LSU, get out of your own way. I ain't worried about him getting enrolled. What I tell you is that video took some editing. Probably took about 2 days. From someone in video editing, that video at minimum took 2 days. At minimum. So he had his decision ready to go. Cordell, oh yeah, probably. I think he'll be here in spring, and we'll find that out. We'll find that out. General Grievous, who's been a member for 2 months, says Sig won after 2 years. Lane gonna do it in one. Prince Lee Human Yellen says this dude might F around and we win in year one. He could. You got the talent. Let's hope that he does. I really hope that he does. Sell with a $20 super chat says Lane train. But let's also credit where the credit is due. Verge, without a doubt. And listen, Verge needs a lot of credit for the money that he helped raise. Billy Glasscock. So look, man, Billy Glasscock was on a plane a couple of days ago to Atlanta, and when Lane was in New Orleans, locking this down. They did not give up, and this is what it feels like to be on the winning side of one of these. It's what it feels like. But Verge, Billy Glasscock, and everybody that's involved in it. But yes, a lot of people deserve it, and Verge is definitely one of them. Bayou Bingo with a $5 super chat says somebody needs to do a welfare check on Willis from Locked On Old Piss. Yeah, I mean, I like Steven. I think Steven does a good job. I think that, in the media, you get in these kind of rivalries, and I don't have one with Steven, but I'm sure he's hurting right now. I mean, they're coping at the highest order. All of them are. Stephen Young with a $5 super chat says Pete Golding implicated Will Wade style, and Lane landed Seaton in the same day as Epic. Yeah, you can't go full Will Wade. Why are you using your phone? Why are you the one texting him? You got 6,000 cronies in that building that can be doing this for you. Why would you implicate yourself? Why would you do that? And let me tell you this right now. I don't think Austin Thomas, I don't believe at all that Austin Thomas threw Pete under the bus like that. I don't believe it. I think he was playing both sides of this. That's what I believe. And because if you listen to Dabo at the end, Austin was the one that was wind up texting it. Because Austin's your GM. He's your money guy. How would he not know? You mean to tell me that the guy that orchestrated the contracts didn't know what Pete Golding was doing and didn't have any hand in it? You're a damn fool. You're a damn fool. Ace with a $10 super chat says, appreciate you, Blake, and all the hard work through the coaching search, signing day, and transfer portal. You have proven to be a great asset for us as fans. It's a great night to be a Tiger. I greatly appreciate that, man. It has been a long 3 months, a very long 3 months. And now I get to kind of chill for a minute. We're going to be here every night, not that level of chill, but I mean, the phones are going to stop ringing for once. Thank God. Thank God. Thank you, sweet Jesus up above. It's been a long 3 months, but I would not trade it for the world. I wouldn't, because we grow, you grow in stuff like this. You get our shows get bigger and stuff like this. I mean, to some degree, I wish it would never stop, to be completely honest with you. From a business standpoint, I definitely don't want it to end. But it has been a fantastic couple of months, because now you're excited about what you just did. You deserve to be excited after all the shit you went through over the last 40 years. You deserve to be winning the way that you are. You deserve a head coach that does not take no for an answer. You deserve it. After all the shit that you've been through over the last 2 decades, if anybody deserves it, you do. But thank you. It's been a very fun one, and I'm glad that y'all are here. Jordan Addison, or Jay Addison, excuse me, with a $5 super chat says, Blake said yesterday, I don't know where he's going. Wink. Yes. Somebody clip it. Chase, I know Chase is in here somewhere. Chase, clip it. Yes. And we also said last night that this would not go 24 hours. What I didn't know is, I'll just tell you, what I didn't know is if Oregon wouldn't throw one last Hail Mary along with Miami. And I was nervous that they would, and that the uncle would win out, to be blunt with you. That's what I was nervous about. But this has been, do I think that Jordan Seaton left without committing? No, I don't. But you had a battle there at the end, and you won. Fred says, guessing this official means Lamar will play D-line. I don't know. And Fred, I'm still going to ask Lane that question, because I think he could play both. I would assume so, yes. I would assume so. But let him do both during well, he's not going to be there during the spring. Let him do both and see how he does. But I think he should play along the defensive line. Bomb Tech, who's been a member for 2 months, says, love the show. What happens with Clemson Ole Miss tampering? I don't think anything. Because here's the thing. And I don't think anything happens to you, because here's the thing. Like, let's just say that the NCAA wants to go after Ole Miss. Well, then Ole Miss points the finger at LSU. LSU points the finger at Auburn and Penn State. I mean, guys, what are we doing here? What are we doing? I think that if you want to prove a point, you go after somebody and say, listen, we're going to give you a slap on the wrist. Pete, during the summer when it's a dead period, we're going to give you a 2-week suspension. And then you tell everybody this is your final warning, because you could still go after tampering. It's still against the NCAA bylaws for you to tamper. But do they sue? If they went after LSU, does Verge Osbury and company sue them in East Baton Rouge Parish and win? Probably. And that's why they don't want to do it. I don't think anything's going to come of it, to be blunt with you. Do I think it should? Yeah. But do I think at some point someone should, I think at some point, yes, somebody should do something. Do I think that they are? No, I don't. I don't think anything's going to come of it at all. Like at all. Lane Kiffin just tweeted at Donald Trump, make Baton Rouge great. And it's a hat that says make Baton Rouge great. Oh, sweet Jesus. If that ain't a shout out to Jeff Landry, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. And I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. You win football games for me, I don't give a shit. Look at Jeff Martin, man. This is fun, man. This is really fun. All right, let's get to a couple more of these and we'll get out of here. But to your question, I don't think anything happens. Yeah, I don't think anything happens. Mr. Terps with a $2 super chat says, hey, Blake, how does Brian Kelly feel right now? Shit. I don't think there's a bigger indictment on Scott Woodward and Brian Kelly bigger than what Lane's done. I don't. And, I mean, it's just such a massive indictment. Scott Woodward fucked up. Big time. Big time, big time, big time. I mean, I'm sure Brian Kelly is sitting on a South Beach, Florida beach right now, saying to himself, why didn't y'all give me this level of money? Because no one trusted you. LA native with a $10 super chat says, Lane running a train on the college football world. Good God. Got the bow tie wearing booty bandits in Oxford clutching their pearls. Bow tie wearing booty bandits in Oxford clutching their pearls. This will be the longest offseason wait of my life. We finally have the dudes. Golly. Bow tie, booty hole, pearl holding, pearl clutching. Damn, son. Damn. Do you think Ole Miss fans? Nah, I ain't going to go full T-Bob. I was about to say something. T-Bob would say it. I'm not going to say it. Bow ties. Yeah, they wear bow ties. What loser wears a bow tie? Alton Jones with a $2 super chat says, how does spring work for Seaton? Well, if you get him enrolled, he comes in right away. Yeah, it comes in right away if they get him enrolled. And I'm sure that LSU will pull some strings. And little Debbie and little Timmy, oh, I go to LSU. They wouldn't do that for me. You ain't getting paid $2.5 million. You ain't getting paid that level of money. So, little Debbie, go sit your ass down, your fat ass. But get him enrolled. Do what you got to do. You've come this far. You're going to tell me that getting him enrolled is gonna be the problem? Give him a degree. Shit. You gave Shaq a doctorate for crying out loud. Richie Roche says, I didn't word that right. Yes, with a $20 super chat. That's what I was talking about. Yes. At minimum, you were going to get 2. At minimum. But you got both of them. And you landed 3 of the top 5. It is so freaking impressive. So freaking impressive and dominating. P. Foy with a $5 super chat says, did you tell Carter happy birthday? I didn't know it was Carter's birthday. I need to tell him happy birthday. Side note, can we all point and laugh at Ole Miss for this whole offseason? Hate Dabo, but loved his presser. Yeah, Dabo went full in. Dabo Swinney did you a solid. He did you a solid. Yeah, it's a bad look on Ole Miss. It's a very, very, very bad look on Ole Miss. And I'm glad that it's a bad look on Ole Miss. Go Tigers with a $5 to 2025 with a $5 super chat says, Blake, I saw Jason Aldean in Mississippi Saturday. He asked any Ole Miss fans in the house, and I booed so loud. Oh, God. Yeah. How many Ole Miss fans were there? Probably none. They were probably drinking scotch on Daddy's yacht. My daddy has a 52-foot yacht. Or I don't even know how long yachts are. How long is a yacht? $70 Okay. 35 to 70 foot. So 54 is not bad. My daddy has a 70-foot yacht. My dad once was in the presence of Donald Trump. My daddy knows the governor. Well, when my daddy comes home from Goldman Sachs, we're going to have a Macallan 25 and reminisce on good times. Daddy, do you want to go fence? Do you want to go play cricket? Golf? Fred with a $10 super chat says Ole Miss dudes are more of a White Claw and Boone's Farm crowd. They definitely drink that. All right, in all seriousness, them Ole Miss dudes definitely drink White Claws. I think I don't trust a man that drinks a White Claw. I don't drink. I don't trust a man that drinks a White Claw. Go get some hair in your chest and go get a bourbon. But I don't trust a man that drinks a White Claw. And I got to tell you, I've had a couple of White Claws. So sometimes I've been untrustworthy. Stephen Young with a $5. Stephen Young with a $5 super chat says Lane has a lot of Jay Johnson in. Facts. Lane is more public about it than Jay. Yeah, Jay ain't gonna tell you shit. Jay's more mafia style with that. But they are similar in the way that they work. 100%. 1,000%. Guys, Verge told you that the dude's not leaving the building and walking around in T-shirts and shorts with no shoes on. He ain't leaving. He hadn't left. Now he can go get some rest because he's worked his ass off in doing it. Steven also sends a $5 super chat again, says, do you think NCAA can keep Forelli from playing for Ole Miss? No, I don't, because they'll sue him. No, I don't. I don't think they have really any legal recourse here. I mean, I'm just being blunt. I don't think that there's any real legal recourse that they have. Mr. EJ, maybe, or EAJ, with a $5 super chat says, thanks again, Texas A&M, belt to ass in Tiger Stadium made all of this happen, a true blessing in disguise. Ain't that shit true? Ain't that shit the truth? I mean, thank you. Thank you, Billy Lucci. Thank you, Billy Lucci. Rodney Scott with a $2 super chat says, Brian Kelly has cashed out. Yeah, he's cashed out. He ain't worried about shit. He's going to get paid $54 million. What's he got to worry about? I mean, I'm not going to tell you what I'd be doing, but I mean, look, man, at the end of the day, BK's a good dude, just didn't work. And a lot of his work ethic, and Scott Woodward being an asshole. Rodney Scott also says Ole Miss is going back to being Rice U. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be that bad. I don't think they'll be that bad. Trinidad's still a really good quarterback, but eventually can Pete run this thing will be the question. That will be the real question. The real overall question here. Cody LeCompte with a $2 super chat says, Blake, we need some merch. Probably launching next week. I wanted to get it going during the portal period situation because a lot of you more will view it and go buy merch. But we're finalizing the hats here because I am a hat junkie and I am very particular on what kind of hats I wear. We're going to have some comfortable wearing hats, some really nice wearing hats. But we're trying to make it all look good. We'll have just different shirts, hose shirts. We got some Mardi Gras shirts coming out in the next couple of days. Elena and Lee was probably one of the best decisions I made was bringing them on the team. Without a doubt. So we're going to have that there for you. It's going to be really fun. And when baseball season turns around, we're going to be doing some merch for them too. And they're going to kill this. I can already tell it. They're going to kill it. All right, man. Been a fantastic night. To all 10,000 of you that's watching live, do us a favor, hit the like and share. Every AYS Sports show is brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. Download the FD Sportsbook app today. We're proudly partnered and powered with our good friends over at FanDuel. Do us a favor, subscribe down below. Like 60% of you are still not subscribed. Subscribe down below. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. All right. We'll see y'all soon. No more super chats? No. All right. We'll see y'all soon. Y'all have a blessed, blessed night, and go Tigers. This shit's going to be fun. See you soon. Peace.